My name is Dwayne Reynolds, and I'm privileged to serve on the Board of Directors of the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, the Chamber staff, and our Ambassador Committee, we want to welcome you to this annual event on the city calendar. I know for the Chamber and I think for the communities of Farmington and Farmington Hills and our Board of Education, this is a landmark event. We hold it every year, and we appreciate your support. We couldn't do it without you. I want to, in the spirit of the agenda, I want to take just a few minutes and give you just a very brief report on the state of the Chamber of Commerce. I'm happy to say that under Dan Irvin's leadership and the hard work of our staff, Kristen and Cheryl and Marcia and Diana, we were able to pay all our bills and end the year in the black with a modest reserve to carry forward to 2016. And membership is growing. Everything the Chamber does is to support our business community as well as the communities of Farmington and Farmington Hills. And Dan and the staff are already hard at work on some new initiatives and programs to carry us into 2016. So they're already working very hard. We've got some things we'll be unveiling soon, and look forward to another good year for the Chamber. For those of you who come to this every year, you know that we have a very full agenda, so I will get off the platform. And right now, I'll turn it over to Todd Lippa, who is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Whenever I get a mic, I just want to take a second and thank all the sponsors that are here today to make this event so great, especially those like Bright House and Paulson's who continue to support our young people in this community. So to you, I thank you. And I told Dan last night that thanks to Farmington Public Schools, I know the first word of the pledge, so I will lead that for you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dan Irvin. I'm the Executive Director for the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to welcome you all here today. Thank you for being here. At this time, I'd like to officially thank our sponsors. Our premier sponsor is their... Thank you. Thanks, Roxanne. Is this any better? All right. Roxanne, always taking care of me. Thank you. Roxanne's a sponsor today, too. Thank you. Our premier sponsor today is the Robert Bosch Company. We have contributing sponsors, Wright Beamer, Bright House Business Solutions, Botsford Commons Senior Community, Beaumont Health Farmington Hills. Our supporting sponsors are Paulson's Audio Video, Edward Jones, Steve Chang, and our promotional sponsor, the calendars at your table, are provided by Roxanne Fitzpatrick, Keller Williams. Thank you all very much. I'd like to take a minute and recognize those elected officials that are with us today, because today we celebrate them and the hard work that they do for our communities. From the city of Farmington, our council member Greg Cowley, council member Jeffrey Scott, council member Sarah Bowman, Mayor Pro Tem Steve Schneeman, and our mayor will be speaking later, Bill Galvin. From the city of Farmington Hills, our council member Richard Lerner, Mayor Pro Tem Valerie Knoll, Councilmember Michael Bridges, Councilmember Randy Bruce, and our Mayor, Ken Massey. I'd also like to introduce from the 47th District Court, the Honorable James B. Brady and the Honorable Marla E. Parker. With us today is one of the Chamber's biggest fans, our State Representative, Christine Gregg. Before we get, I'd like to introduce Kimberly Lindsay Fegan, is the Manager of Government and Community Affairs from the Robert Bosch Company, to come up and say a few words. Bosch has been a great partner with this community for a very long time, and this is one of the events that Kim and I have pledge to work with every year. We really thank them for their sponsorship. So Kim, if you'd like to come up.
Thanks, Dan. Well, anyone who has met Dan can only agree with me that he's a visionary and works very hard to take the chamber to new heights. So kudos to the chamber board for placing the right leader at the right time. So I'm sure he heard this many times before, but Dan, you're the man. So. Well, good morning, everyone. So to the elected officials here, the chamber members, and esteemed guests, I greet you on behalf of Mike Mansuetti, president of Robert Bosch, LLC, and the over 1,300 associates that work at our Farmington Hills site. Bosch, we continue to be a proud sponsor and chamber member, and we're honored to be one of the sponsors of the State of the City's address. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to briefly come before you. As many of you know, Bosch is a leading supplier of technology and services. This year marks the company's 130th year. We employ roughly 375,000 associates worldwide, with sales of over $78 billion in 2015. There are over 28,000 associates in North America in more than 100 locations. In 2015, Bosch worldwide filed on average 22 patents per working day, making us one of the world's leading companies for patent applications. So I'd like to share a few new and interesting developments in the world of Bosch. At this year's Consumer Electronics Show, Bosch announced its entry into the smart home market. Are the windows closed? Did the oven get turned off? Is there enough milk for breakfast tomorrow? Bosch's smart home system enables the networking of devices such as heating, household appliances, entertainment systems, lighting, and even security systems. All of the connected devices in a home can be operated from a smartphone or a tablet with a single app. Also at the show, Bosch received a CES Innovation Award for our touchscreen with haptic feedback called NeoSense. With NeoSense, keys displayed on a flat screen feel like actual buttons, so drivers can operate applications such as navigation without looking. This solves the touchscreen's greatest problem, namely that for as slick as they appear, they typically take the user's eyes off of the road. By letting customers and drivers feel for the buttons, drivers' eyes are kept where they belong, making driving safer. So now as we travel down the road to autonomous or self-driving vehicles, a lot of you might have heard the automakers and also the Googles and the Apples and Ubers in their quest for self-driving vehicles. Bosch's powertrain and sensor technologies have the company well positioned to be a major player and partner in this arena. Bosch plans to realize automated valet parking by 2018. Drivers simply leave their car at the entrance of a parking lot or a garage. The car then finds an available space and parks itself. When it's time to go, the car drives itself back to the drop-off point in the same way. Bosch is a founding partner of U of M's M-City, the world's first controlled environment specifically designed to test connected and automated vehicle technologies that will lead the way to mass-market driverless cars predicted by 2020. Connected cars will have the capability to communicate with the smart home via the navigation system, so drivers can, for instance, preheat the oven for dinner before they even arrive home. So how cool is that, right? Our company's founder, Robert Bosch, a German engineer, inventor, and industrialist, said, quote, "It is my intention, apart from the alleviation of all kinds of hardship, to promote the moral, physical, and intellectual development of the people." The Bosch Community Fund, which is our U.S.-based foundation, works with the Farmington Hills Community Advisory Committee, which was established to proactively identify and recommend STEM education and environmental projects for funding. For those of you in this room that are members, we're grateful for your participation. You are vital to our mission to add value to a community that we have been proud to call home since 1993. Since 2012, the Bosch Community Fund has awarded over $500,000 in grants to the Farmington Hills community. It is a delight each year to hear the amazing accomplishments and future plans as presented by the dedicated leaders within the Farmington and Farmington Hills city governments, school administration, and the Chamber, all who work tirelessly to enrich the quality of life in this area and making it the community of choice for current and future residents alike. I'm eager to hear the information that will be presented today, and on behalf of Bosch, thank you for the opportunity to work side by side with you to make this community a wonderful place to live and work. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. As we continue through the program this morning, we're going to have a contributing sponsor introduce our featured speakers as we move forward. Each time the speaker is done, our featured speaker, we ask that the contributing sponsor please find their way to the podium to introduce the next speaker. Ms. Lee Flaherty from Wright Beamer will be introducing Farmington Public Schools Board President Howard Wallach. Ms. Margaret Leitner from Botsford Commons will be introducing both Ken Massey and Bill Galvin this morning. So this time I'd like to invite Ms. Lee Flaherty up here to introduce our school board president. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's my privilege this morning to introduce Howard Wallach, President, as Dan said, of the Farmington Public Schools Board of Education. Dan is the managing partner in the Ferndale office of the national law firm of Foley and Mansfield. He began his service on the board 12 years ago in 2004, and he's currently serving his 4th term as president of the board. Howard has long been active in our community, and he previously served as president of the Michigan Regional Board of the Anti-Defamation League. He and his wife, Stacy, have lived in our community for over 20 years, and it was here that they raised their 2 daughters, who are now both grown and graduated, one from Michigan State University and one from the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. Please welcome Howard Wallach.
Good morning, and thank you. First, let me thank the Chamber for hosting this important community event and for giving us as city and school district leaders the opportunity to share with you some of our points of pride, as well as initiatives, opportunities, and challenges for the future. With me today from the Board of Education is my colleague, Terry Weems, who joined us recently and has already made a significant contribution to our board. If you don't know her, please make the effort to meet her because she's absolutely terrific. Terry? From our administration, we have Diane Bauman, who's our Director of School and Community Relations, and Deborah Mccracken, our Administrative Assistant, who, if the truth were known, is really the brains behind the entire organization because she keeps us organized, on task, and on schedule. And of course, our superintendent, Dr. George Heitch, whom I think we can all agree has accomplished more in terms of passing the bond, passing the millage, as well as restructuring our entire staff from top to bottom, while doing it with grace and compassion, more than anyone could have ever imagined, having only hired him 21 months ago. So thank you, George, thank you, Deborah, and thanks to all of your team. I want to share some information with you about school finance, which is a thing that is often talked about but not often well understood. Imagine that you owned a unique business, a business where you made no product for sale, so you had no control over your revenues, a business where you delivered a service for which you could not charge a fee, a business where the government not only controlled how much money you received to operate your business, but also exerted complete control over one of your largest expenditures. A business where after the government tells you how much they're going to give you to run your business in a particular year, it can change its mind midstream and not only reduce that allocation, but take back money already given to you. Welcome to public education in Michigan circa 2016. Let me share with you a few facts and figures to put things in perspective. Since 1994, when Proposal A passed, the cost of living has increased 47%. During that same time, our per pupil state allocation has only gone up 15.2%, which is an average of 0.72% per year. So before we do anything, before we open our first door in the fall, we are 31.8% behind the 8 ball. We are operating today on roughly the same allocation that the state provided to us in 2002 and 2003. Add to that in 1994, the school district contributed 5% of every dollar we received to employee pensions. And this year, we are compelled to contribute 25.78% of every dollar we get from the state. Now, although state officials have so far this year been projecting that we will get a 0.84% reduction in that pension contribution for next year, I will tell you that honestly, many in the school community are very concerned that the funding for the Flint water crisis will somehow come out in part, at least from the school aid fund. So we'll just have to keep our eye on that and watch what's going to happen. People ask me, so how are things going at FPS? And sometimes I've been feeling like I want to say, well, we want to get into a cocoon, come out sometime next year, and hopefully things will be better. But we don't have that opportunity. We've chosen to move forward with a new and innovative educational programming structure, being ever mindful that it is our job and our obligation to educate our children to the best of our ability with the resources that we have. And all of that is behind the restructuring that we've been doing. So let me share with you now the things that are going on in our schools. We want to look forward to what's on the horizon and obviously plan to do the things that are necessary to face the challenges that we have today. As you know, last May, this wonderful community supported and passed a $131.5 million bond proposal. Thanks to all of you who supported the children and families of our district. I'm happy to share with you that your bond dollars are already hard at work. Last summer, we started with roofing projects at North Farmington and Gill Elementary. Recent bond expenditures include the purchase of 9 new buses and classroom technology. At our last board meeting, the board approved bid awards for facility renovations at Forest, Lanigan, and Gill Elementary schools, as well as East Middle School. Construction is scheduled to begin as soon as school is out at these schools, as well as a project at Farmington High School. Our budget. We have a budget that is approximately $141 million. We've worked very hard over the years to maintain a balanced school budget. It is hard to believe that since 2002, we have cut $70 million from our budget in response to declining revenues, resources, and enrollment. We were also lucky, frankly, it was actually part of planning, to have a strong fund balance that really helped us through that so that we could maintain our staff as long as possible at the levels that we had in smaller class sizes. While our current fund balance is not where we want it to be, we are already on the road to building it back so that our reserves are in an appropriate position. This is a very difficult task because, as you can imagine, it's going to largely rest on the shoulders of our staff who are going to have to take cuts, as one of our groups has already done. We thank them for their commitment to the community in working with us in that regard. In order to balance the budget and rebuild the fund equity, we have to prioritize our school district facilities and utilize the district resources in the best way possible. Our current enrollment is approximately 10,000 students, and unfortunately, it's anticipated the number will decline further over the next several years. This declining enrollment has necessitated that we study what our future school facility needs will be. And as an example, last year we had close to 1,000 students graduate from Farmington Public Schools, but our incoming kindergarten class this year is only about 670. So you can imagine what that does as people matriculate through the district. In December, the board approved a change to our grade level configurations that will best serve our students and most effectively utilize our facilities. Effective next year, so beginning this fall, we will have schools with kids in groups of kindergarten through 5th grade, 6th through 8th, and 9 through 12. This new configuration, although it's really not so new, it's just recently new to us, will reduce the number of transitions for our students at the middle school level, which is something we heard from the community who very clearly and passionately spoke out about it. The new configuration will also allow our current 4th graders to stay in their current elementary schools this coming fall. There will therefore be no elementary school boundary changes for the coming year. Let me repeat that so you get the word out really clear. No elementary school boundary changes next year. Potential school closings and repurposing. Last week we had a board workshop to begin the in-depth discussion around what schools need to be closed or repurposed. The district administration presented us with a draft plan to hear our concerns and our questions. We are in the process of scheduling another board workshop to continue this discussion. It is expected administration will present its formal recommendation to the board at our meeting on March 1 that will be held at North Farmington High School. There will be 2 community forums that are scheduled to gather feedback from the community. The first on Thursday, March 3 at 7 p.m. at the Maxfield Educational Center, and then the second one on Saturday, March 5 at 10 a.m. at Dunkel Middle School. We encourage everyone to participate in these forums so that we can make the best possible decisions for the district moving forward. We are scheduled to vote on the plan on Tuesday, March 15 at our board meeting. That meeting will be held at Dunkel Middle School. The input and feedback we've received from parents and community members has been extremely important to us and has also helped us to identify the types of instructional programs they believe are valuable and important for the success of our children. As you would expect with a service-based business, the district's largest component is the school district's staff-related costs. This year, most employee contracts will expire before the beginning of next school year. As I mentioned, we recently completed one of those contract negotiations with our school administrative group, known as FASA, and that resulted in substantial savings to the district. In addition, the board recently voted to unanimously have the district issue requests for proposal, or RFPs, for custodial and transportation services. In order to ensure school district resources are directed to the maintenance of high-quality educational services and programs for students, and in light of budgetary pressures and uncertain funding, the board felt that it was not only fiscally responsible, but our fiduciary responsibility to consider possible savings in this regard. We acknowledge that this type of change is difficult if it occurs, and that while that RFP process is underway, let me reassure everyone in this room that no decision has been made, and let me repeat that, no decision has been made. We're also in negotiations with all of our other employee groups. So now let's talk about some points of pride. While we face some challenging transitions in the district, we're also proud of the excellence and achievements of our students and staff. Let me share with you a few recent points. The district provides a current curriculum that is flexible, relevant, and responsive to student needs. Our students are engaged in challenging and relevant learning. Our high school students have access to more than 20 advanced placement courses and continue to score well on AP exams, allowing them to earn college credit and providing tuition savings to their families. In June 2015, we proudly graduated a total of 862 students who were graduated from Farmington, Harrison, and North Farmington High School. Of those students, 94% went on to higher education. Others had military or employment plans. In addition, 64 students from our Farmington Central High School earned their diplomas, and we also recognize students who graduated from the Visions Unlimited program. If you are not familiar with the Visions program, the school serves young adults aged 18 through 26 who have physical and developmental disabilities. The school focuses on life and work skills to help each student reach his or her potential as a contributing citizen and productive worker. We're very proud of that important work. The last time I had the opportunity to speak at this annual breakfast was in 2011. At that time, I was pleased to announce that the district's International Baccalaureate program was going to begin in the fall of that year with a 9th grade class at Harrison High School. I'm now proud to tell you and share that in June of 2015, the first class of 39 students graduated from the district's International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. We celebrated the accomplishments of these students with an IB diploma celebration just in January of this year. IB is respected and recognized by colleges and universities worldwide for the excellence of its program. The strongest reason for pursuing the IB diploma is its reputation for preparing students for successful work in post-secondary education. And I can tell you from having attended that celebration in January that every one of the students who spoke talked about how well prepared they were for college and how much, frankly, easier college is than the IB program was. The confidence to handle challenging work, self-assurance in presenting and defending one's ideas, and appreciation for other cultures and ideas is critical to this program. The curriculum encourages the study of international perspectives so students are prepared to navigate the increasingly global marketplace. In addition to the IB diploma program, individual IB classes are open to our students. And this, I think, is really the telling aspect of this program from a real hands-on perspective. I'm sure you will be pleased to know that our IB diploma graduates earned over $4 million in scholarships, with one student entering college with 55 college credits and another with over 40 college credits. Just amazing, just amazing. And those statistics are consistent with what you see from the International Academy School in Bloomfield Hills. We also have the AP program, as I mentioned. Farmington students continue to excel as AP scholars on national merit and achievement semifinalists and finalists. Last October, the board recognized approximately 80 students who earned AP Scholar designations for tests taken during their junior year. These are students who complete 3 or more AP exams with grades of 3 or higher. Only about 18% of the more than 1.3 million high school students in secondary schools worldwide who take AP exams perform at a level to merit the recognition of AP Scholar. We also had 14 students named as National Merit Scholarship semifinalists, an equally challenging and rigorous academic achievement. We have 43 district high school students who earned regional honors at the Business Professionals of America Leadership Conference and competition. They excelled in such areas as economic research, entrepreneurship, website design, and global marketing. It's high school musical season, and our schools are having some of the best productions you can imagine. A couple of weeks ago, Harrison High School performed The Addams Family to rave reviews. Upcoming productions include Anything Goes at North Farmington on March 17 through 19, and Bye Bye Birdie at Farmington, April 22 through 24. If you're looking for outstanding value and exceptional talent for your entertainment dollar, these are shows you need to attend. State honors went to 5 Farmington Public Schools middle and high school students who earned a spot in the state of Michigan's all-state band or orchestras at the Michigan Music Conference in January. That's the equivalent of being an all-state football player or basketball player. More than 2,000 students across the state audition each year to participate in these elite ensembles. The May 2015 bond did not include updates to our early childhood centers. This was done intentionally, as it is likely the school building configuration decisions that we're going to make next month that our early childhood programs will be consolidated and then placed into another district building. Nevertheless, our commitment to our early childhood programming is unwavering. We continue to provide the same high-quality program, which we are proud to say is accredited by the National Association for the Education of Young Children. That's NAEYC, for those of you who like acronyms. Our early childhood centers are just 2 of 37 preschools in the entire state of Michigan that are accredited under the NAEYC accreditation system. And in the entire country, there are only 2,300 accredited schools. Let's talk about our vision for a minute. On behalf of the board and our superintendent and all of our students who are the future leaders of both our state and our country, I want to thank you for listening. Despite these challenging times, I'm hopeful about the future because we have wonderful leadership, an amazing staff, and outstanding students and parents. A public school district serves a great moral purpose through the work and service to its students and the community. It is the bedrock of our democracy. Our goals of sustaining and enhancing the excellence we have in Farmington Public Schools while being good financial stewards, creates difficult choices, but also opportunities. We know when we complete this difficult work, FPS will be a better place for students, families, and staff because we will be able to focus our attention and our resources on effective teaching, meaningful relationships, and outstanding learning environments in the classroom. We are confident that working together with our local community and business leaders, we will continue to provide a relevant, rigorous, and high-quality education for all of the students in our community. Thank you again to all of you for your strong support and commitment to Farmington Public Schools. I appreciate this opportunity to share with you the most important work of our district. Please join us at an upcoming community forum, performing arts production, athletic event, community service activity, or school program. We have much to celebrate. We'd like to do that with you, and we know you'll be impressed. Thank you, and have a great day.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Good. Okay. A little louder? Okay. I can amp up the voice here. We're very pleased to sponsor the State of the City's address this morning. As some of you may know, Botsford Commons Senior Community has been around since 1984. It's been an integral part of this community. And what we do there is very much reflective of the Farmington Hills community at large. Our mission statement is to create a fullness of life through the joy of relationships, the art of caring, and the spirit of living. And when I look at what happens in the city of Farmington and in Farmington Hills, I think it could very well be the mission statement for our community at large. And on our campus, we have various housing options. We have independently owned condominiums. We have an apartment building. We have active assisted living and a skilled nursing facility, where the busiest part of our campus is taking patients discharged from the hospital and giving them the opportunity to rehab and go home and live back in the community and thrive. So the purpose of the community really is their outreach, the communication with our community at large, the relationships. It is a lovely, lovely community. So very, very proud to be part of the State of the City's address. And very proud to introduce the mayor of the city of Farmington, Bill Galvin. Bill is serving his second term. He has served the citizens of Farmington on the city council since 2011. He's participated as a board member in the Southwest Oakland County Cable Commission, SWOC, the Farmington Hills Public Schools Intergovernmental Joint Task Force, and the Fit2H FIT program, the F2H FIT program. He has served on the Commission on Aging, the Greater Farmington Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and the Farmington Public Schools Building and Site Utilization Committee. He's lived in the Farmington Hills area with his family, and I'm very pleased to present to you the mayor of the city of Farmington, Bill Galvin.
How's that? Can you hear me okay? A little louder? I'll lean into it. How about that? So good morning, everybody. Thank you, Margaret, for that introduction. Thank you to the Greater Farmington Chamber of Commerce, its board of directors, and all of the sponsors who helped make this morning's event possible. I want to recognize my colleagues from the great city of Farmington. Council member Sarah Bowman, City Council member Jeff Scott, City Council Member Greg Cowley, Mayor Pro Tem Steve Schneeman, our City Manager David Murphy, City Attorney Beth Sorella, Economic and Community Development Director Kevin Christensen. Kevin made sure he had the longest title. Farmington Public Safety Director Frank Demers, our Public Safety Deputy Director Ted Worthman, Public Services Superintendent Chuck Udy, our Assistant to the City Manager Annette Knowles, our City Clerk Sue Halberstadt, City Deputy Clerk Mary Mullison, our Controller Amy Norgard, Treasurer and Finance Director Chris Weber, and our Farmington City Executive Assistant Melissa Andrade. Everywhere I go, I make sure I have a large entourage. Did I forget anybody? These people lead the departments that provide the high level of services that our citizens have come to expect. Our fast public safety response time, curbside leaf pickup, and 24-hour snow removal on every road, every side street, and every municipal parking lot. Every department and every employee of the city is valued by our citizens. On behalf of the citizens of Farmington, I want to acknowledge their work and thank them for their service. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge Dan Irvin and the Greater Farmington Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber of Commerce is an important part of our entire community. They have made a lot of great strides under Dan's leadership. Membership is up, and they now have a great user-friendly website. I'm here this morning to talk about the condition of the city of Farmington. But first, I want to talk about perspective. In our community, we are fortunate that we have avoided trials like the citizens and the leaders of Flint, Michigan. Being a member of our city council has given me a different perspective on that tragedy. I've attended various meetings with council members from Flint. They are regular people who are unexpectedly faced with an enormous problem. There is no training to prepare for that. For the next several generations, the local leaders of Flint will address public health as their first priority every day. I hope you'll keep the Flint community, especially their children, in your prayers. And I also ask that you pray for the elected leaders at every level who will be making decisions for the people of Flint for many years to come. Here in Farmington, we had a tremendous year in 2015. We started off the year by approving a new PUD and easement agreement with Kimco Realty to help attract Fresh Time Farmers Market grocery store. The previous agreement was over 25 years old, and much had changed since then. A revision was necessary to stimulate economic growth. The new PUD and easement agreement creates a structure that will benefit Kimco, its tenants, and our citizens. This includes preserving 4 iconic downtown events in the way that we have traditionally enjoyed them. Art on the Grand, which is a great partnership with Farmington Hills Cultural Arts Division. The Summer Founders Festival, which is now operated by our Greater Farmington Chamber of Commerce. The Downtown Development Authority's Harvest Moon Dance. And the city's Saturday Farmers and Artisans Market. These 4 events were recognized as significant cultural community icons by City Council. They are the 4 cornerstones to downtown Farmington's destination and placemaking strategy. Kimco and Fresh Time cooperatively acknowledged these events throughout all of our negotiations and conversations that took place. It was a long, comprehensive process that included dozens of individuals from the city, Kimco, and Fresh Time, all throughout 2014 and 2015. Our citizens have wanted a high-quality grocery store in the central business district for many years, and I am confident our entire community is anxious and excited to welcome Fresh Time to open its doors later this year. We are truly excited to have them as a business partner. Another accomplishment in 2015 that planted roots in 2014 was the creation of a parking committee and implementation of parking management. The committee consists of a broad representation of elected officials, other commissions and boards, administrators, businesses, and customers. They are dedicated and knowledgeable. Parking management is an ongoing, never-ending process. I'm pleased to tell you that parking management is working. What does that mean? At the moment, it means spaces are open and available when a customer motorist needs to park their car. In the future, it may involve other changes to parking. It may result in a parking deck. We may see partnerships with reserved spaces for internet car services, such as Uber and Lyft. Parking management is a continual adaptation. It's an integral part of a successful destination placemaking economics. The typical customer comes from several miles and cannot walk to downtown Farmington. So we offer complimentary and convenient parking spaces so you can experience walking about a friendly and safe downtown. In Farmington, our citizens provide a taxpayer-funded parking system to support the central business district. We have no parking space zoning requirements based on the type or size of your business. We have no fee-based meters. We have no gates. We have no parking tax assessments charged to our businesses. Parking in downtown Farmington is a four-letter word, F-R-E-E. It's free. But what if you want to live in downtown Farmington? We've conducted several housing market studies that indicated Farmington needs more housing that is fit for the 21st century. Expansion of residential housing within the central business district is crucial to sustaining a vibrant downtown community. The Orchards Phase 2 is under construction. That is the project of 16 townhomes on Slocum Street. People want to live in a downtown, and they especially want to live in downtown Farmington. When the Maxfield Training Center comes online, we will have even more housing to offer. This is a great time to own, open, and expand a business in downtown Farmington. Let me shift gears and tell you about our recycling program, which has been in existence for many years. A few years ago, we expanded it to include the large green bins. With very little promotion, our citizens have shown they are keenly interested in environmental responsibility. Farmington achieved a 53% recycling rate for 2015. This is up from 50% in 2014. We have one of the highest recycling rates in the state, and our recycling environmental impact was the equivalent of saving 5,516 trees. Our rate of recycling will increase in 2016. Beginning next month, we will begin a new program for curbside pickup of unwanted clothing. This will not take away good, reusable clothing donations meant for the charities. Information on the program will be delivered to you in the next few weeks. When I talk to you about the state of the city of Farmington, I must talk to you about crime. Let me clarify that. I must talk to you about the lack of crime. Serious crimes decreased 5.3% compared to 2014. This continues a trend of steep decreases in major crimes over the last several years. Commercial burglaries and residential home invasions are at all-time lows. Safewise.com, an authority on home safety and security, recognized the city of Farmington as the 27th safest city in Michigan. And CreditDonkey.com, it's a little funny saying that, but CreditDonkey.com recently recognized the city of Farmington as the 13th safest community in Michigan. Our public safety department has revamped its Business Watch program in an effort to strengthen partnerships with the Farmington business community. A public safety sergeant has been assigned as a Business Watch liaison. He meets with business owners periodically to update them on public safety initiatives and crime prevention techniques. And he follows up on any concerns from members of the business community. After several retirements over the last 2 years, the department is back up to full operating staff of 23 sworn public safety officers. We had another exciting accomplishment for 2015. We built a new subdivision street. For an established community like ours, building new streets is rather uncommon. Later this year, we will welcome new residents to Laurelwood Court. 33 new homes are currently under construction at the Farmington Riverwalk development site. I have 2 highlights to emphasize about this project. First, this project received the Development of the Year Award from the Home Builders of Southeast Michigan. Development of the Year. And second, I am pleased to tell you it is completely sold out in less than 9 months. That deserves an applause. As you know, we've been trying to sell the old courthouse on 10 Mile Road for several years now. It's a small property which posed some challenges. It had a sale pending in 2014, but the developer pulled out. Fortunately, they left us with their $25,000 non-refundable down payment. I learned the other day that we now have several different proposals for that property. I do not know the specific terms or the projects proposed at this time, but I look forward to reviewing them with my colleagues in the next few weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, people want to live in Farmington, Michigan. To that end, much of 2015 included a review of the city's residential zoning ordinance. Our post-war residential zoning has worked very well. When it comes to high quality of Farmington homes, you can literally say they don't build them like they used to. But the 21st century family has different needs. Young families today want more bedrooms. They want more bathrooms. They want a smaller yard that requires less maintenance. By revising our residential zoning, people can now remain in Farmington and make larger additions or remodel projects. New families can buy a small house with an eye towards immediate and significant expansion. We're all familiar with the notion that real estate is about location, location, location. They want to live near a walkable downtown with shopping, parks, sidewalks, and events. Downtowns are hot, and in Farmington, we have all that. So if you live on streets such as Robinwood, Marblehead, Violet, or Cass, you can expand your home's footprint right now. You can stay in Farmington and continue to enjoy our high level of services as your family grows. To recap the highlights of 2015, economic development in downtown Farmington, parking management, an increase in environmental awareness and recycling, a decrease in crime, and improvement on our already traditionally safe neighborhoods. New residential housing, a revision of our zoning to allow for bigger and better homes to meet a growing family's needs. It's a great time to live and own a business in Farmington. Before I talk about 2016, I want to talk about one more change that took place in our community. As you know, we have a new city manager, and I think City Council will agree with me. We are pleased to have David Murphy as our chief administrator. From where I stand, he has done a terrific job fitting into our community. He has embraced Farmington, and as expected, he quickly committed to our citizens. And likewise, our citizens are engaging Mr. Murphy. It has been a smooth transition, and we look forward to the future. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. 2016. What is the future? The future of Farmington will be determined by our citizens. Planning is a critical component to the delivery of services and maintaining our community. Kevin Christensen and his staff are fervently working with our administrators, elected officials, and appointed volunteers, third-party facilitators, and most importantly, you, our citizens and our community, to constantly review our community's plans. One example is our new Parks and Recreation Master Plan. We currently have a survey on our internet homepage, and I hope you will participate in it. Annette Knowles and our Downtown Development Authority are working on a new and updated downtown master plan. Tomorrow night, we will have an educational meeting for historic preservation. This will help level the field of knowledge among our Historical Commission, our Downtown Development Authority, our Planning Commission, City Council, and anyone else who is interested to attend. We created the Grand River Corridor Improvement Authority with Farmington Hills several years ago to create similar zoning and stimulate growth along that corridor. And our 2013 Vision Plan is already navigating us through the future. The Vision Plan had 6 different initiatives, and every single one of those is currently seeing activity at the moment. All indications are that 2016 will continue to exceed expectations, and this is primarily due to the community, you. It's volunteers who make up the Downtown Master Plan Committee, residents who come to countless strategy sessions to help plan the future of Farmington, and volunteers who plan events such as the Farmington Film Festival and this past Sunday's Skate and Date. We have a community full of passionate citizens who aren't afraid to speak up on behalf of Farmington. It's a privilege and an honor to serve you and to be invited here to speak this morning. Thank you for your time, and thank you for choosing to live, work, and play in Farmington.
For those of you who are following along closely with your agenda, the first thing you'll notice is I'm not Dr. Lacasse. He's much taller than I am, but I'm happy to be here on behalf of Botsford Hospital, now known as Beaumont Health, Farmington Hills. And you all know Botsford Hospital has been around for years as part of this community. First under the leadership of Gersh Cooper for over 50 years, then under the leadership of Paul Lacasse for 10 plus years. And a year and a half ago, the board of directors at the hospital, and many of them I see in the room today, made some very important decisions to become part of Beaumont Health. So Beaumont, Oakwood, and Botsford came together to form the largest healthcare system in southeastern Michigan. So we're very, very happy to be part of that new organization. Beaumont Health remains committed to this community and to the patients that the hospital serves. And that is evident when you drive by the hospital on Grand River. You'll see the new building going on, the creation of a new hospital, a hospital of the future with great care and great focus on the patient. So we're very, very happy to sponsor the State of the City's address this morning. And I'm very happy to introduce a friend of mine, the current mayor of Farmington Hills, Ken Massey. Ken's bio is very, very long, so I'm going to cut to the chase and just give you a few highlights. He has been serving as mayor since November. He's very excited about doing so. He was elected to the city council in November of 2003. He served as mayor pro tem in 2006, 2010, and 2015. He's lived in Farmington Hills all of his life. He served as the chair of the Botsford Hospital Board of Directors. And Ken, you've been a great addition. I'm glad to have you mayor of Farmington Hills, and it's my pleasure to introduce you today.
So good morning, everyone. It's actually a great deal of fun to attend this event because you often get to see folks that we haven't seen in a little while, or we meet sporadically, and it's nice to see you all come together to learn about what's going on in our community. And it's great to hear from our colleagues in Farmington and in the Farmington Public Schools, because these groups, we need to continue to work together. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege and my honor to share my first State of the Cities address with you this morning. And in this talk, I plan on discussing the 2015 accomplishments. And as Mayor Galvin pointed out, in Farmington, it's been very busy, and Farmington Hills likewise. We've had a very busy 2015. And to talk a little bit about our goals for 2016 and beyond, because our role in governance is not to address just what's happening today, but really think with a forward vision and have that goal communicated to the community and be able to act on that goal. On the PowerPoints that are going to continuously scroll, we're just illustrating some of the activities and the highlights that have occurred in our great community. As I start, like everyone has, I would like to thank the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce and our sponsors for giving the opportunity to address you this morning. It should be noted, and it has, and I want to continue that, to mention the Greater Farmington Area Chamber has been undergoing great expansion during the last year. Executive Director Dan Irwin and his team have put together a process by which the approach to our businesses will serve us well and set the stage for great things to come. My fellow council members who are here today have been introduced to you, and I want to take a moment, more of a philosophical moment, and that's to say that I want to recognize and thank the council members for their partnership and their dedication to serving this community. Each council member brings with him or her a unique perspective on our collective work of setting city policy. Our opinions are as diverse as our backgrounds, but the end goal is making decisions that will affect the health, the safety, the welfare, and the livelihoods of our citizens. We work diligently together to accomplish that. In 2015, the voters of Farmington Hills re-elected Dr. Randy Bruce and Mr. Richard Lerner to our council, and they also added our newest member, Teresa Rich, who is not able to be with us this morning. A little bit about council. In our form of government, which is considered a strong city manager form of government, the position of mayor, the position of city councilman is always considered to be part-time. Well, I would assure you that both former members of council and our current council will tell you that if you're going to do this job right, there's no such thing as part-time. The commitments are intense, and they affect, as an elected official, they don't just affect us, they affect our entire family. We have to have that support, and because of that, the one person who hasn't been elected, or hasn't been introduced yet this morning, is my wife, Catherine, the First Lady of Farmington Hills. Stand up, take bow. I can honestly say that for the last 12 years while I've been on council, and for the future while I'm your mayor, her commitment to this community while behind the scenes is very intense, and I thank her for that. So, as I shift to reflect on the past year and consider what's happening in 2016, I want to emphatically and strongly report that the city of Farmington Hills is strong and we are moving in a positive direction. That said, in November, 24/7 Wall Street named Farmington Hills as the 14th best city in which to live in the country. This ranking was based on variables such as low crime rates, our schools, employment growth, access to restaurants, attractions, our inclusiveness, our educational attainment, and our housing affordability. The quality of life that we have in Farmington Hills is that other communities simply strive for. So as I was on my way over here this morning, I'm listening to the radio, and my favorite artist, Bob Seger, comes on, and I'm listening to Turn the Page, which happens to be my favorite piece of music. So I'm going to do that. And we've turned the page for a few things in Farmington Hills in 2015. First, in July, our longtime city manager, Mr. Steve Brock, announced his retirement to council. That was a bit of a surprise, to say the least, for those of us on council. But I am proud to say that, like the city of Farmington, with their new city manager, we have a new city manager, Mr. David Boyer. And Dave has been a long-term employee with the city. He was, for many years, he was our Director of Special Services. Then for the last 3 or so, he became our Assistant City Manager. And now Dave brings his long-term vision for the community. Dave, thank you for your commitment to this community. When council elevated Mr. Boyer to the position of city manager, that of course left a gap, which was our assistant city manager. And just last Friday, it was announced that Mr. Gary Mccracken, who was formerly director of our public services, is now our new assistant city manager. Gary, thank you for what you've done and all you're going to do. Another big change we had in 2015 was when our fire chief, Corey Barsht, decided to take his retirement. I think that surprised our new city manager with less than a week on the job. But for those of you who have not met him, we have a new fire chief. He started on February the 8th, and that's Mr. John Unruh. John comes to us after a distinguished career with the city of Livonia and their fire department. But I will say he has a special place because he started with Farmington Hills paid-on-call system. He's been a dispatcher within the police system on a part-time basis. So John not only brings his passion for service, his experience, his knowledge, but he also brings an understanding of our complex fire department. And thank you for what you're about to do. So let's talk about accomplishments. My council member colleague Richard Lerner will tell you I always talk too much and I put too much into something, and today is not going to be any different. So that's just going to happen. But we've done a lot of things. First, since we're talking about the fire department, I want to talk about safety. Safety in our community, we take it seriously because first and foremost, for citizens to be able to be successful and to achieve self-actualization, a fundamental principle is they need to feel safe. We all need that. We are the second safest city in the state of Michigan. Very proud of that. Our public safety millage was supported by 83% of our voters last November, and that demonstrates the overwhelming support that our community has for this fundamental need. They also highly support our firefighters and our police departments, and the results are clear. The most serious categories of crime last year were down almost 6%. For the second year in a row, we had the lowest number of burglaries we've ever had and the lowest number of auto thefts ever recorded in the 43-year history of the city of Farmington Hills. We added 4 new firefighters. Large part that was also through a grant that was obtained through the city. It's called the SAFER grant. So those 4 new firefighters did not cost the taxpayers money. Well, I guess it did on a federal level, but from the local perspective, we did very well. We've added some new police officers in the last year, and this allows us to expand some of our services. Our community policing efforts have gone up, and some of the service-related activities the fire department does, like child safety seat inspections, have been increasing. We also made changes in our emergency medical dispatch, the expanded use of automatic external defibrillators. We've changed our ALS protocols. All of these have resulted in our out-of-hospital cardiac arrest survival rate is now almost 4 times the national average. So doing a great job, and we want our paramedics to know that. So Mr. Jim Etzen, who is our EMS coordinator, should be commended. Also, one of the goals we had in 2016 is to expand on this, because in order to make that system work, we need to enhance our chain of survival, which means we need citizens to get involved to call when they see an event. And we do that by training. Our Emergency Preparedness Commission and our fire department have been training people on preparedness, first aid, and other emergency procedures. In fact, their seminar they held here in the Caustic Center last week, when it opened up, had 109 citizens wanting to learn these skills. We also had the Mayor's Youth Council ask for CPR and AED training, and the fire department trained almost 60 kids in these emergency life-saving procedures. And that's even getting better, because I'm proud to announce that after working on this for a very long period of time in cooperation with Farmington Public Schools, CPR training is now going to be offered or required as a graduation requirement. And I thank the schools for doing that, and the partnership with the fire department is going to be great. This has long-term community benefits. The news, that's all great news. We do have challenges. And I will tell you that one of our greatest safety challenges is the use of illicit drugs. Heroin is on the increase. All across the country, deaths by heroin overdoses have increased 3-fold in the last 5 years alone. And Farmington Hills is not immune to that. So one of my goals in working with our police chief and our city management was to have our police officers able to carry the life-saving drug Narcan, which reduces the effects of opioid overdose. Our officers were trained during the month of January, and we rolled it out on the beginning of February. And I am proud to tell you that we've had 2 lives saved already since the beginning of the month. One on February the 9th, and the second just this week on February the 15th, where both individuals had overdosed, and the police officers responding to the scene administered Narcan, thus saving those 2 individuals. And congratulations need to be extended to Officer Ken Meyer and Officer Lindsay South for doing just that. So I'm going to shift, I'm going to use my turn the page, and we're going to switch over to some property values and tax information. I will tell you up front, it's there's a little bit of mixed news in here, in that improvements are being seen in our residential property values. Commercial property values remain a bit flat, but they're showing some signs of picking up. Our total taxable value of the community increased by 2.4% last year. And our state revenue sharing, which is our second largest source of revenue for the community, is expected to increase 3% in this fiscal year. That's a reflection of a stabilizing and improving overall economy. Your city of Farmington Hills has a balanced budget, and this budget addresses current and future community needs, and they're balanced against service demands. Our complete total budget expenditure is about $82 million. And these funds the expenditures are up slightly since last year. Our unassigned fund balance, or our rainy day fund, is approximately 20% of our overall general fund. And we have been rewarded for this fiduciary, for meeting our fiduciary requirements and our conservative financial principles with a AAA bond rating, which saves our taxpayers even more money. There is some risk here. What happens in the global economy, we can't directly control, but our best mitigation of that risk is through continuing our sound fiscal policies. The best way to keep our taxes low and meet our commitments is to build our economy, not try and tax our way out of it. So building the economy has included attracting new businesses to town and focusing on economic development. In order to accomplish economic development, we need to know who we are. And we're a fairly mature suburban city, 98% built out, so we're not going to see lots and lots and lots of new buildings. And we need to shift our focus to investment, refurbishment, and maintaining our current building stock. On the investment side, we've seen an uptick in infill development, some small subdivisions filling in locations. One example was the Wooddale property. We heard from Margaret Leitner about the investment that Beaumont Health is making, $160 million in expansion for, and I'm going to call it Botsford Hospital because I have to do that. That's going to allow us to expand our emergency department, the trauma center, construction of a new intensive care unit, and a new patient tower. Another investment that's going on, the St. Vincent and Sarah Fisher properties has been sold, and it's expected to be repurposed as a senior housing community. They met the requirements of our Historic District Commission. On the refurbishment side, we heard from Mayor Galvin that the Corridor Improvement Authority is active and it's doing well. Marketing materials are now available to help stimulate developers who might be interested in doing that. And on our maintenance side, this past year, we rolled out our single-family rental home inspection process. A number of folks have decided if they've relocated, not to necessarily sell their properties, but rather turn them into lease opportunities. And in those particular places, we want to make sure that those homes are kept up. And all reports have been so far that it's working and things are improving. We have a new opportunity now that the roundabout at Orchard Lake and 14 Mile is finally completed, and we can have economic development in that region of the city. We've had a number of new restaurants open, the Wicked Table, Craft Brew City, Simply Frank's, and the Old Detroit Burger Bar. We've seen expansion of some of our international companies. Nissan's made a substantial investment in their facilities. TRW has taken over the Arboretum building and expanded and remodeled that building. And Google has opened a call center in Farmington Hills, and when it's fully fleshed out, we expect there will be about 700 employees at that site. So these are some really, really positive things going on in our community. We have a new hotel. It's up in that northwestern 14-mile area, and the Alexander Hamilton building has been raised, and there are 2 new hotels and a banquet center going in on that spot. On the public service side, our city is being proactive and taking a leading role on improving the infrastructure of our city and repairing our roads. Refurbishing and repaving our roads helps to improve property values, create curb appeal, and add to the overall desirability of the community. In 2014, voters passed a 2 mil road millage that allows us to continue our 20% match for the paving of local roads. It allows us to expand our maintenance to programs to make the roads last longer, and it also improves funding for major local roads. While talking about local roads, those sometimes bring up a little controversy and create longer meetings nights for your city council. But our local roads have been funded for years by charter requirements as a special assessment district. That special assessment district had not done what it was supposed to do because people were supposed to come in and ask through petitions to have their roads repaved. Well, with the economic downturn, people put that decision off, and so now we needed to do something, plus there are areas that don't have homeowners associations. So in 2015, we added a directed special assessment district in which the engineering division goes out, assesses the road conditions, and they do this on a biannual basis. And when streets hit a certain level of failure, they're put onto a capital improvement plan so that we can get those roads refurbished. Now that special assessment district creates a little consternation from some people, but I'd just like to say that if you do the math, it's actually less expensive in the long run than a citywide millage that would have to be rather extensive, and it's equitable. We have different types of styles of road paving throughout the city. And this equitability and cost, it actually is, it's a positive thing for our community. And during our goal-setting session, council has decided in the next year we're looking for ways that we can augment this process and make it less painful for our residents. A little while ago, I noticed it was snowing outside. Our Department of Public Works needs to be commended for its unique use of brine solutions to handle our early stage snow and ice problems. It is saving us a huge amount of money because the brine can be put down during regular working hours, so we save overtime, and it makes the salt that has to go down later or any plowing that needs to be done more effective. In 2015, we added a 10,000 square foot addition to the DPW yard to enhance our ability to make the brine and store it for our uses. Work will be done on a number of our local main roads in the next coming years, and this will include resurfacing, signal modernization, new sidewalks, water mains, and sewer upgrades. You've probably heard that the Department of Transportation is going to be repaving 275. For those of you who have been here more than 16 years, it's repaving 275 again. While we have some mixed views on what that's going to do to our traffic, I will say that it gave City Council an opportunity to engage with MDOT and obtain concessions to put 380 trees, some berm configurations and so forth along our stretch of 275, and for the first time in almost 40 years, at least give the residents down there some degree of noise abatement. And I'm very proud that council hung tough and worked with MDOT to make that happen. Also, and you've probably seen a picture up there, in 2015 we saw a new vegetation management system that was put into place. Our new pilot program incorporates Pilot the Goat, who is put in various open spaces and likes to consume noxious plants and invasive species and processes those the way goats process things through their digestive systems. That handles that problem. It's been so successful, we have added a second employee called co-pilot to that program. And this was actually one of the most fun stories of 2015. This story alone about our goat has gotten more media press than any of the other great things that you're hearing about here, including coverage on CNN. So I do want to leave you with one more thought on that, and that is that Farmington Hills water rates, because of our water tower coming online and working as expected, our water rates actually dropped 2% in 2015. We also saw higher than average voter turnout in 2015, and with 2016 being, I don't know, there's this little presidential thing going on in 2016. So it's pretty clear that our city clerk, Pam Smith, and her staff are going to be very busy this year. In order to make it easier to conduct the business of the city, we redesigned our city website. The new design is easier to navigate and works well on mobile devices. We have set up sharing of services, central services. Mr. Mike Lasley is the director there, has supplied Farmington with IT staff, and we also do dispatch for Farmington Public Safety. These are great regional effects. We've also improved our contact us by email website function so that people can get a hold of us. Not to leave out quality of life enhancements, the Riley Archery Range opened in 2015. Through community development block grant funding, the Old Town Park has seen refurbishment, and this includes new tennis courts, walking trails, a shelter, and playground structure. We've incorporated more STEM program, or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and I happen to like that concept. At our Farmington Hills Nature Center, our youth program had more youth participants in their productions than previously had been done. Our golf course had the highest number of rounds ever played in the last 4 years. And one factoid that just impressed me was that we've had, through the Meals on Wheels program that's done here through the Caustic Center, we prepared and delivered 103,000 meals in 2015. I think that makes us one of the biggest restaurant operations in the city. So all of these accomplishments have been done because we have great city employees. Our city employees and the directors of their division who make sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes, they deserve a round of applause. So that's all of those things are wonderful. That's what your city staff has been doing, your city council has been doing. But what makes the city? The city is composed of citizens. And I want to start you out with a thought. So a Jewish woman, a black guy, an Indian guy, and a short, bald guy walk into a restaurant. What do you call them? Well, in Farmington Hills, while that may sound like a very uncomfortable start to a bad joke, in Farmington Hills we have one term. We call them neighbors, because this is an inclusive community. And the breadth and the diversity of our backgrounds, of our people that live here, that's one of our major strengths. When I had the opportunity to speak at the library on Martin Luther King Day, I opined on diversity, which has as its root word divide, which doesn't sound right to me. I would rather start talking about, instead of the diversity of Farmington Hills, the inclusivity of this city. That's what makes us a great community. We have a lot of different types of backgrounds, but when we come together, this community doesn't have the kinds of issues that we hear that confront other communities, because we meet them head on. We work together, and we work proactively and lead in this area. We need to support and enhance our sense of community. Last year, we saw for the first time in quite a number of years, subdivisions putting floats in the Founders Parade. That's what we need to do. That brings people together. We need to promote social events through our homeowners associations. That instills a sense of place. Neighbors need to get to know each other. If something ever happens, and my time on the Preparedness Commission, I constantly say, if you look around the room, these are the people that you have to depend on in the event of a disaster or the event of something happens. You need to know your neighbors. We need to find ways of promoting that. So our goals for 2016, we want to continue the great work that's being done by Calfani Stevens on economic development. We want to ensure that we are branded as being open for business and an easy community to work with. We have to continue investing in our infrastructure. I also want to say we need to enhance our regional cooperation. Our cities, our schools, while we're up here being 3 different organizations talking to you and sharing with you, the message should be clear. We're three different groups, but we don't work in silos, and we represent this region. We have to do that more effectively. To that end, we are having our first joint school board Farmington Hills Council meeting on the 29th of February. It's going to be held at our Farmington Hills Golf Club in the restaurant there. And I would propose that we need to not make this one meeting every, year or so. We need to do this at least twice a year. We need to find ways that we can support each other. I will tell you that as I was walking the streets of our fine city and meeting our residents running for this office, one of the things that I heard loud and clear was that voters expect our city government to be able to work with to have something to do with the schools. And when you talk about it, you say we're separately elected groups. I will say that we need to find ways, while we are separately elected, we need to find ways to enhance our cooperativity. Your Farmington Hills City Council is reviewing our boards and commissions. We want to take a look at all of our boards and commissions, make sure that they're meeting our mission statements and that we don't have particular gaps or we don't have redundancies. We're instituting a new Community Health Commission, because back in the fall, we did find one area that we can improve on. So that brings together F2H Fit, that brings together the concepts of better health. We'll have representation from Beaumont Health on that. We're going to have representation from Farmington Safe, which is our group that deals with mental health and suicide prevention, all together under one directed group, the Community Health Commission, and that will be, I hope, a joint commission with our sister city of Farmington. We need to encourage residents, and all of you here have the ability to encourage your neighbors, your friends, your contacts to get involved. That's how our community works. We need our old residents and our new residents, and obviously that's not an age issue, but those residents that have been here for years and those residents that are new to our area, we need them to get involved. And we're going to continue to enact the 2020 visioning processes that were put in place by the work of our citizens back in the 2011. We want to continue to move that forward. So, in closing, we are what we are today because we believe in working together, and we will continuously maintain the quality of life for our residents because they deserve it. We have to continue, your city has to continue providing the highest level of services in the spirit of teamwork and having a long-term vision. While we need to deal with the issues of today, we have to be prepared with a long-range vision, and I think that we are ready to deal with whatever comes our way in the next 2 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, and beyond that. Farmington Hills is a great community. That's not to say there are no challenges, but we're in good shape to meet those challenges and see them as opportunities. I want to thank again the Greater Farmington Area Chamber for sponsoring this annual event and the sponsors who put the money together to allow it to happen. And moreover, I want to thank the citizens for giving me the opportunity to serve as your mayor. And I look forward to working with my city council and the citizens and our excellent staff over the next coming years. Thank you very much for your attention this morning.
As we conclude the program today, I'd just like to thank again our sponsors, Bosch, Botsford Commons Senior Community, Beaumont Health, Farmington Hills, Bright House Business Solutions, Wright Beamer, Paulson's Audio Video, Edward Jones, Steve Chang, and Roxanne Fitzpatrick with Keller Williams. Our turnout this year was wonderful. On behalf of the Chamber Board of Directors and Ambassadors, we thank you and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.